What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the 80 Express DFS podcast presented to you by Draft Dashboard. We're going to look at week 1 of the NFL regular season. NFL is back. We are ready to rock. Remember, you can try out all the tools I use in this video 30 days for $1 by clicking my link in the description below. Gets you access to everything in the NFL, the MLB, and the WNBA right now. And with the NFL, you're not going to come across another DFS website that lets you try out their tools 30 days for $1. So first month is free. Get in, try it out. You don't like it, get rid of it. This is the best deal you will see in any NFL format. So get on board, get yourself some tools like this. Really helps you out, helps me out a lot. Here's a cheat sheet for the NFL today, or for this week. No ownership out yet. It's a little early yet for ownership projections, but that'll be out around Thursday. I'm going to do a Thursday single game entry video, so I will try and show the cheat sheet on Thursday before I get into that, just so you can see the ownership on some of these guys. Alrighty, let's get into the position optimizer. Before I do that, you can help me out, help the channel out by clicking the thumbs up button. Really helps me out, lets my video be viewed by more people. And if you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. That always helps me out as well. We're going to get into the position optimizer. So I am going to list off about three players at quarterback and defense, and then about 5 at wide receiver, running back, and tight end. I think we'll give about 3 players as well. We have 20 players in our player pool right now. So first guy up is Jameis Winston against the 49ers. This game has a high total. I think the total is like 49 last time I looked. Jameis Winston, he's more of a FanDuel play than he is a DraftKings play for me, but he's okay on DraftKings as well. He's just got a better price tag on FanDuel for me, but I do like Jameis Winston quite a bit. I think this game goes one of two ways. I think that either Tampa Bay is going to get out in front, I think Tampa Bay will get out in front and either be in control for most of this game. And if that happens, Jameis Winston's going to have a lot to do with it. These guys can't run the ball at all. And the Niners have a really good front seven. So I think running the ball is going to be a difficult task for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 1. So that makes me like Jameis Winston a lot with a high total against the Niners, who struggled against the pass last year. As you can see, his draft rank is 100. Against his opponent's defense was 25th last year against quarterbacks, and 26th against, or was 25th overall in the defense, 26th against quarterbacks. So grades out pretty well for me. Next guy up in the same game, I have Jimmy Garoppolo. Like I just stated, I think that Tampa Bay is either gonna be a close game and it's gonna be a shootout, or Tampa Bay is gonna get ahead, and Jameis Winston will have a lot to do with that. But on the way back, you have Jimmy Garoppolo on the comeback train. I like this game a lot for fantasy purposes. Again, defensive rank last year for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was 31. Against the quarterback position, it was 30. Jimmy Garoppolo's got a really nice price tag on DraftKings, not so much on FanDuel. I prefer Jameis Winston on FanDuel than I do on DraftKings. Then the last guy I have is more of a DraftKings play than it is a FanDuel play. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about it on every position, but again, Atlanta Falcons were 32nd against the pass last year, dead last, and then they had the 28th worst defense. So get a good guy looking to bounce back. Cousins has gotten a lot of criticism for being kind of an average quarterback that got a big contract. Expect big things from the Vikings this year. I am also a Vikings fan, so that might be a little bit biased in some of my plays as I talk about them, but I like to see it how I see it, and I think the Vikings are going to have a good game in week 1. Running backs. First running back I like is Christian McCaffrey. Now they're going up against the Rams, and the Rams have been pretty good against the run. As you can see, they were 15th last year against the run, and 19th defense overall. But Christian McCaffrey does everything for this team. He put on about, I would guess, this is just a guess, but I bet you he put on at least 10 pounds of muscle this offseason. This dude's just ripped right now. McCaffrey also catches the ball a lot, so on DraftKings, that makes a big difference. You get a full point PPR, so I really like McCaffrey on DraftKings. On FanDuel, obviously it's only a half point PPR. You're more touchdown dependent on FanDuel. But I like McCaffrey as the stud back this week for DraftKings purposes anyways. Next guy up, I like Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook's got a really good price tag and a projection on him. He's projected for almost 18 points. Again, against the Falcons. The Falcons are 27th against the run last year and 28th overall, so not very good defense. Minnesota's at home. They're going to want to get Dalvin Cook out there. They're going to let this guy run a lot this year. If he can stay healthy, he should have a huge year. Next guy up I have is Chris Carson from the Seattle Seahawks. He's the number one back. This is the one game that I think Cincinnati doesn't stand a single chance in, and so I really like some of the Seattle players, but I prefer Carson on the ground. I think they're just going to control this game. It's going to be low scoring, and Carson can also catch the ball out of the backfield. Defensive rank for Cincinnati dead last. Against the run, they were 31st, so I think that makes for a lot of sense too. Next guy up I like on both sites. It's Mark Ingram against the Dolphins. He's got a 12.3 projection. Miami had 26th worst defense last year, 29th against running backs. And Mark Ingram is a guy that is very touchdown dependent. If he doesn't score, he's going to kill you. But they should be in control of this game. It's going to be a low-scoring game, like we said. And Mark Ingram is the feature back there. He's going to get all the goal line touches. I really like him on FanDuel. I like him on DraftKings as well. I think he scores a touchdown this week. Next guy up is Tony Pollard. Until we hear anything about Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard's just going to be an elite value at 4,500 on DraftKings against the Giants, who had the 24th best defense and 25th against running backs. So I think that Pollard could make for an interesting value play on both sites. I didn't really get to him, but I still think he's in play, so I wanted to include him. Wide receivers that I like this week. First off, I have Odell Beckham with a almost 17 projection. The Titans are a pretgoing good defense. They were okay against the pass last year, but pretty good defense overall. I just think that with Baker's going to want to show off his new tool that he's got, and Odell, I think we could see them connect a couple times this game. I expect him to be targeted quite a bit. A lot of that target stuff is going to go down from Landry, and it's going to move to Beckham. Hey, when you get a new shiny tool like this, you want to show it off and use it. So I like Odell Beckham. Next up, to pair with Kirk Cousins, I have Stephon Diggs. Again against the Falcons, 28th defense, 29th against the position. He's got a 16 projection on DraftKings. A little bit less than Thielen, who's got a 17, but Thielen's a PPR machine. Diggs is more the big play guy. I think that we could see Diggs have a pretty good game here. Cousins is going to be throwing the ball down the field a little bit more this year, I think. Then I have Chris Goodwin of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, again to pair with Jameis Winston. We talked about the defense and the defensive position rank on both of these guys already against the 49ers. Goodwin's got a lot of steam coming into this season. They said he's been awesome in practice, just dominating everybody. So I think that makes for an interesting pairing. If you go to Goodwin here instead of Mike Evans, Mike Evans might draw some ownership as well. He also grades out well, but for $1,700 cheaper, I think we can go to Goodwin. He's a guy that found the end zone quite a bit last year, so I think that makes for interesting play. Then again, Dante Pettis, you're going to get the number one wide receiver for Jimmy Garoppolo coming back against a team that doesn't have a very good defense, not very good against the position. I think that the 49ers might be playing catch-up here a little bit. But Dante Pettis is a guy that he's cheap and he should have a pretty good game, in my opinion. Last guy I'm going to talk about is D.D. Westbrook. Again, Chiefs, not a good defense. They're playing a lot of shootouts. I expect the Chiefs to win this game handily. But you could get D.D. Westbrook on the comeback trail. Just 4,800. He's the number one wide receiver for Nick Foles. So I think that we could be looking at a pretty good game from D.D. Westbrook on the comeback trail for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tight ends. First guy up I like is Kittle. He's going to be the number one option for Jimmy Garoppolo before all the receivers. This dude was a monster last year. Tampa Bay was not good against tight ends. They weren't good against anybody, really. 31 defense in the league. Projects out for 14.7, so he's 0.7 less than Kelsey, but he's 500 cheaper. You could say the same thing about Zach Ertz, also with the same projection, but I think that the Eagles are just going to win two-handedly. I don't think the passing game is really going to be all that involved outside of the second quarter. Then you got Evan Ingram. He's going to be, with all these receivers that the Giants have that are hurt and suspended, I think that you're going to have to see the ball go to the tight end here. Evan Ingram's a good tight end. Dallas was 22nd against tight ends last year. Pretty good defense overall, though, 8th in the league, as you can see. But I think Evan Ingram is a pretty good value at 4,800. Then the best value at probably any position on any slate is Hunter Henry on DraftKings. He's got a 10 projection for 3,900 against the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts were an okay defense, but they struggled against tight ends. Hunter Henry's been a super promising tight end with a lot of talent that just keeps getting hurt. So that kind of sucks for him, but he's healthy again, and he's the guy that they had replaced Antonio Gates a couple years ago, and he's just been banged up ever since. I think we can see Hunter Henry have a pretty good game. I'd like him a lot in season-long leagues too. If he stays healthy, he's just a great tight end. And the last guy I talked about for tight ends is O.J. Howard. San Francisco is actually pretty good against tight ends last year. O.J. Howard's a big red zone threat. He's the juice. He's a big guy, and Jameis likes to go to him in the red zone. My only concern with him is that San Francisco is actually pretty good against tight ends. They have a lot of good linebackers. Their front seven's really good. Young, talented guys. But he's got an 11 projection. He's kind of touchdown dependent in my opinion, though. I actually got to a lot of Hunter Henry on DraftKings. O.J. Howard's fine on FanDuel, though. And then the defenses we want to talk about before we wrap it up here. Defense is always the hardest thing to predict. You could say, okay, well, I like the Ravens' defense because they're playing Miami and Miami sucks. Well, that doesn't always work out. So you're looking for turnovers, you're looking for touchdowns, you're looking for stuff that you can't predict. So I just went and grabbed the defenses that I thought were in good spots. First up, I have the Jets. The Jets against the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills struggled to move the ball last year, 31st ranked offense. They just cut LaShawn McCoy, so they're down to Frank Gore and Devin Singletary. I think Singletary is a rookie. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure he's a rookie. So we don't know what we're really going to get from him. Josh Allen's a pretty good quarterback. They just have no talent at wide receiver or tight end, really. I think this is just a really watered-down offense. The Jets are at home. I think the Jets can make for an interesting play, probably at pretty lower ownership, too. So I think the Jets are a good defense. Then my favorite defense of the week is the Seahawks. It's not going to grade out well because the opponent's offensive rank is 10. But outside of Joe Mixon and Andy Dalton, there is not a whole lot left on this Cincinnati team. Tyler Boyd is really the only option. Eifert has been banged up his whole career. but he's a decent tight end. I just think that the Seahawks control this game. It stays low scoring. I'm not exactly going to say that I think the Seahawks are going to score defensive touchdowns, but I think they could cause a couple turnovers and keep the game low scoring. So I think for me, from an optimization perspective, I think the Seahawks grade out as the best defense. Then the last defense I have is the Lions. Look, you got a rookie quarterback with all the hype in the world, Kyler Murray. He's going to turn the ball over a few times, whether we want to admit that or not. He's a rookie quarterback in his first NFL start with an offense that rated dead last. Lions have a pretty good front four, pretty good defensive secondary as well. So I think that the Lions make for a pretty easy plug and play against a rookie quarterback. We'll throw all that information that we just gave to you into what we call the position optimizer or the lineup optimizer. It'll spit out a lineup for us. And this is the first lineup that it spits out. And on DraftKings, I love this lineup. Jameis Winston, Mark Ingram, Chris Carson, Stephon Diggs, Odell Beckham, D.D. Westbrook, Hunter Henry, Jets defense, Dalvin Cook. I think that's for a really solid lineup there. You could get off Stephon Diggs and go to a guy like Goodwin so you get the connection going. As you can see now, you have a correlation connection between Winston and Goodwin. And then you could get up from a guy like D.D. Westbrook if you wanted to. Fit in Dante Pettis. And then you could go and get something like the Lions defense. That leaves you 100 to play with yet. Then you have correlating guys. You have a little bit of a game stack. And last thing I want to show you before we get done with the video today is the lineup generator. So we can take all 20 of our players in our player pool, tell them we want 20 lineups. So then we can generate 20 lineups within 500 of the salary, consider unique players, minimum points projection, and all that jazz, and then we'll just, boom, generate them. So this is going to weight all those players that I just put into my player pools. I have 20 players in my player pool, so it's going to weight that into my optimization so that way I get the players that I like. Takes a little bit, not too long. And then we have 20 lineups. Boom. You can sort it by projected points. Number one projection has 121 points. I don't necessarily like that lineup. I mean, I like everything in that lineup besides the Bengals defense, and that's kind of a flyer anyways. But something like this, Cook, McCaffrey, Winston, Westbrook, Goodwin, Hunter Henry, Diggs. Yeah, I think that looks pretty solid there. But anyways, you can mass generate all these lineups. You can export them right into DraftKings or FanDuel via PDF file. So yeah, I just wanted to stop by, show you guys all the tools that I got to offer for you for the next 30 days for $1. Get back to the dashboard here. You get you stuff like sleepers and studs. You can show guys under 5K that are in good value spots. All kinds of good stuff here. And then you can get access to a pro player pool. So this is the creator of the website and what he's got. And we have almost all the similar stuff. He added Ebron and Johnson. But other than that, we're in agreement quite a bit. He's got Pollard and Barkley, Josh Allen, some of the players that I don't, but ironically he has the same three defenses that I do. So there you have it, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed the video. Click the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new, and if you want to try out these tools, they will be in the description. 30 days for $1. Thank you.